patterns that are developing during my lifetime. Hey, here's a pattern here. This guy keeps stealing my chair more and more now. Every time I get off, I have to now turn around now to see if he's moving from his bed to my chair. Hey, what are you doing there in my chair there? Come on there, no. What the ball? So, might as well film another vlog there. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read the, oh man, I gotta wear my glasses. This is, preface? Is that what you call it? What do you call it in English here? You know how I've been saying, that the species I share DNA with is like an anti-life equation to the planet. Some people say, oh, we're like a virus, or we're like a cancer, or an infection. But the actual right way to describe us has a word here, except that you have to change the system you're looking at. So I'll read you the last, forward. I'll read you the last 3 paragraphs of Mark Hyman, MD, from the foreword of this book. So this is what our species is in the biosphere. Okay, and it became like this. It didn't evolve with a DNA purpose to be like this. So it wasn't genetics, it was memetics. And I'm spelling memetics MEMETICS, not mimetics, not MIMETICS. And there's a difference. And hopefully you'll find it before the definition of things change and our devolving language merges those 2 words into being the same thing, which is not true. These bacteria thrive, I'm not saying we're bacteria, thrive on what you feed them. If you feed them whole, fresh, real foods, good bugs will grow. If you feed them junk, bad bugs will grow. And when the population of bugs changes, the bad bugs begin to produce nasty toxins. So in a way here you could say the bad bugs are the majority, the norm. And if you watch my vlogs over the year, I went from 98 something to eventually 99.999 is 9 bugs on this planet. Bad bugs. We're only bad bugs now. And in a way you could measure that by the kind of behaviors we have. So that's memetics. By the way, the difference, I'll put it in the description of this video. Instead of symbiosis, which, by the way, we wouldn't be here on this planet without what the theory of Lynn Margulis explains, and that she, everybody argued with her about it. And again, I'll put that information in the description. Eventually, after fighting for it a long time, it became commonly accepted. And then Gaia theory that she worked on with James Lovelock, so many people fought it, but they never accepted it enough that, now he's quoted as the originator of the idea of Earth as a superorganism. Because when you hear about it, sometimes they don't refer back to him. It's shameful. There's places you can get Bibles for free, which means beware. But I was sad. Beware what you read in it. But I was sad one time. No, I wasn't. I wasn't evolved enough to be sad. I was happy. I was happy to see this book by James Lovelock called Healing Gaia at only $2 each. And I don't know if I bought all of them. I bought maybe 6, I don't know. And I ended up giving one to a classmate that inspired me, but that also was a good student and gorgeous in one of the courses I took before my master's degree. And I don't know if the book mentions our population in it as a way to heal Gaia by reducing our numbers or not allowing them to grow, and over time coming down, or or even if it mentioned, lifestyles or memetics, the ideologies maybe, or the behaviors we spread. But it should be in there, and that's what I'm talking about. So instead of symbiosis, a mutually beneficial relationship between you and your bugs, living in your gut. So here we could transfer that to the biosphere and us living in the biosphere. You create dysbiosis, a harmful interaction between bugs and host. So us as bugs, if you want to use just that term, we're the species that I call the Homo communia. And that term I've explained before, it's under the Homo genus, which has a mixture of other categories under the Homo genus from long ago in our DNA as evidence too, right? And I don't say that it was only relationships of love that merged that DNA, and that's something that, we will never admit, and that takes a long time for science to start to a little bit admit, because our human chauvinism prevents us from seeing us as the bad bugs in the biosphere. So we are harmful in this way. So our species used to partake in symbiosis with the biosphere, and because of what my theory on HsD explains, it now is in a relationship with life that is called dysbiosis. So this is still about gut bacteria, though, the next paragraphs. So he didn't mention what I'm telling you here. This is a book about, digestion, right? The ecosystem in your gut must be healthy for you to be healthy. When unfriendly bacteria grow in there, the friendly bacteria are pushed out, and a toxic environment develops. And believe me, I'm pushed out of a lot of stuff and a lot of places, and a lot of opportunities are not given to this good bug here. Memetically speaking, this toxic environment affects your body and your metabolism in surprising ways. On CBC, was it yesterday? I was hearing how the development of biologically the anus gave birth to our big brain, to creatures that could grow bigger because food had an out, and so our brains grew bigger. But again, our brains being big is not what makes us special. It's the software that is programmed in it, and very little of it comes at birth. Okay, the rest is developed through family, community, culture, okay, things like that. And I'm telling you, we've been failing at this because of a variety of human domestication syndromes in a way that tipping points have passed since before I was born. Now, if I'd been born 100 years ago and somehow I came to this conclusion, and it was easier for somebody like me, let's say, being a white man would have made it easier to save you, by the way, when it comes to even the scientific cultures, then maybe there would have been the possibility of certain things being solved, but not all tipping points. But because I was born after all the social, including also chemical and ecosystem related tipping points were passed. And a lot of the tipping points I explained relate to our species because we're the bad bugs, right? The Anthropocene is us and our behaviors and our choices, and what we can understand or not, or choose to, or are motivated to understand or not, and what we're capable of changing or not. But when a person is so domesticated that they can't change, then even if you explain to them and they theoretically understand how they have to change their life, they won't succeed. So again, these social momentums have already passed that we could adapt to regain software for self-correction, which we no longer have as a species. So I'm talking about a species. So for you guys to accept this, is you can't accept it this person, or even just me. You have to accept it as the entire species is broken up here. It is generations and generations of training your offspring to be bad bugs. So now, even if you choose to become a parent in some way, you'd lose all your friends as parents. If you choose to be good parents, you still would have to quit your job because you're sending your kids to school would turn them into bad bugs, right? It's been generations and generations that there's only bad bugs teaching newborns to become bad bugs, no matter how big their brains are. So in a way, without the right software, even though the amazing hardware of the brain came to be with the anus, is you ended up as a species being pretty much all just big a-holes. Okay, I'm sorry to say this, but and I've seen something that I've documented in my vlogs over the years, that children that reached a younger and younger age became almost impossible to cure of this bad software, so there wouldn't be bad bugs. So for me, for example, even in a 3 to 5 age group, I found kids that were mimetically indoctrinated or domesticated into being quite the challenge, even in that age group, that young. But most of them, when I worked with that age group, were still, let's say, they had the right kind of mentor, they would still be able to. But then they joined the rest of the world as they grew up, right? And so they eventually see the good that's been done for them, and their software get undone. Last paragraph. If you have a chronic illness, and it's HSD, even if you don't have digestive systems, you might want to digestive symptoms. Yeah, you might want to consider what is living inside your gut. So I'm asking you to say, what's living inside your thinking patterns, which are less and less in your control, is harmful. Digestive wellness is the user's manual for the most important organ in the body, which connects to every other system in the body. A healthy gut is the center of a healthy life. Tending to the garden within can be the answer to many seemingly unrelated health problems. Now, this last paragraph, you can see that they assume the brain can easily access healthy software, and they assume, this central area of the gut is really crucial. But the thing is without the healthy software, which you don't have, you won't even work on the issue. You won't rewrite, for example, Canada's 4 basic food groups or the concept of nutrition. You won't attack even that problem, with the help of doctors or, industries related to food, because they won't want to change. But it's true that the majority of what you give yourselves is you decrease the possibility of your brain kind of working better by what you feed your gut. But the thing is it's really the mimetics that have made you fail and fail more at this, feeding you the right things for your brains. But again, it's not the only thing that it did as a symptom, right? You could see, hey, we're picking up that person is eating very poorly, and yet somehow their bank account, and they have allows them to buy healthier foods, or they have cooking facilities that they own in their multiple houses sometimes, and yet they don't eat healthy food. So that's an example of things being wrong up here. As much as you give them the solution to fix their own health, so they don't have to petition have more doctors in their towns, when they could just use their budget to buy healthier foods and to also cook them better and learn about that as just one little thing for their lifestyle to change for their own benefit. They still won't do it. And that's what my theory talks about, that we've lost the ability to access the higher functions of our brains, and that also the majority of the species, or all of our species' brains, are programmed in ways that make us in a dysbiosis relationship with, hey, I can get to sit in my seat again and maybe watch more of my movie. I was gonna go just take a bubble bath and listen to music where 1 out of 8 songs is me singing, and turns out I sing songs I like, so it's enjoyable. But anyways, I'll let you go. This is just another way for you to understand what we are to this planet, and we should not invent other technologies. We should not do anything else but start by admitting that as a species, we are the problem, and as a species, not just this neighbor or that politician or whoever is in jail or not, it's really a species-wide issue. That's really what would give me hope, that if you admitted to this as a species, that there'd be possibility for us to not finish killing the biosphere. But unfortunately, that's what your species will do.